Welcome to another episode of Coaching Football with Brian Clee.
Thanks for checking out episode 20 of season 1. For any of you who have been subscribed to the channel, big thanks for that support. Kind of silly that season 1's wrapping up. It's been almost 3 years since I've been sharing stuff here on YouTube and just ultimately putting together fundamentals of defensive back play. That's not my comfort zone. Disclaimer up front, I'm not Nick Saban. I'm not some other defensive back guru. I'm just sharing what we have done in our program over the past 8 years. Big thanks to all the players that I've been able to coach in the past 20 years, and then especially the past 9 years at Coloma, 7 as assistant, 2 as a head coach. You guys have let me learn so much more about the game and more about coaching and developing relationships, the stuff that ends up really mattering. And then obviously those guys believed in what coaches like Joe Stevens, who was my head coach and the defensive back coach for 6 years, what Coach Mead, who he's going to be going into his 9th year as an assistant here in Coloma, they believed in what they were being coached to do. And I got my first year in of really coaching the defensive backs as a head coach of the program right now. Ended up in a spot where I knew my assistants were going to be stronger coaching defensive line or linebackers, so made sure I was coaching the defensive backs ready to go. Learned from what Coach Stevens taught me, got to learn on the job with Coach Mead, and then also again from former players, watching stuff on film, putting stuff together. And hope you enjoy this. Again, not an expert, but I think putting together a list of fundamentals and videos on fundamentals ends up making you a better coach, puts you in a great position to get incoming coaches familiar with what you're expecting, the fundamentals for you to be teaching, that they'll be teaching, and then most importantly, it's helpful for your players. As a lot of coaches say, it's not about what we know as coaches, it's really about what those players know. How well do we coach them up? How well do we let them understand the fundamentals and get good at the fundamentals of their position so they can go out, make plays, and have fun playing a really, really fun game.
For those of you checking out the channel for the first time, our defensive philosophy is we want 11 defenders using simple yet sound keys to attack downhill, pursue, and make swarming tackles with uncommon effort, energy, and enthusiasm. That includes our defensive backs. To accomplish that philosophy, we believe that every sound defensive scheme relies on a force defender setting the edge. Again, defensive backs, that typically will apply to them as much as possible within our scheme. Inside defenders filling gaps, an alley player and a backside cutback player or counter player. The alley player and backside cutback or counter player is, again, very often a defensive back. All defenders must have simple and sound keys and reads in order to attack blockers and pursue the ball carrier. That, again, includes our defensive backs. When can they become a run defender? What key gives them that? And we prefer to spill the ball and kill it on the perimeter because it allows for consistent run fits, so we play fast, pursue downhill, and get all defenders pursuing to the tackle. If you don't spill the ball, you're playing down a defender, in my opinion. At some point, the ball needs to be spilled out to that force defender to get them involved. Fundamentals for defensive back play begin, just like all our positions, we need to have the correct alignment and stance to execute the assignment to aggressively, number one, cover, and then secondarily pursue and tackle on every single play. Our goal is to always leverage the receiver or blocker based on your assignment every single play. Are you a deep defender? Are you a down defender? Going to force the ball? Are you a free defender? And you get to help out wherever your keys tell you to help out. Regardless of the coverage, the primary key must be covered until the receiver is no longer a vertical threat. Is it an in-break, out-break? Do I know if somebody else is able to cover this guy? And lastly, any secondary key should be first leverage to be covered for a pass until a clear run read is provided. We've got 4 defensive backs on the field. We need those 4 guys to cover the deep routes so the other 7 guys in the defensive front can do their thing, whether that's rush the passer or provide the primary run support. All our drills, there's a list of them. Fundamentals is coverage. That's what they need to be able to do. Secondary thing, which ends up becoming more important over the course of the season, but just align properly so that way you can execute those pass coverage fundamentals and then have the ability to be a tackler. You got to tackle as a defensive back in any sort of defensive scheme that relies on spilling the ball to the perimeter. Both our corners and safeties will be asked to be force defenders, and then a variety of run keys and reads, which I think are very important teaching defensive backs. Otherwise, you're stuck playing 7 on 8, 7 on 9. You need to get the DBs involved at some point in your run fit. So real quick, 4 clips. Top of the screen, Taquan, he's a junior. He's in the game. A teammate had an injury, and he gets beat. But he provides trail technique. He recovers. He makes the tackle. And he keeps the touchdown from happening. And the reason I want to show this, defensive backs got to have a short memory, and their job's to prevent the touchdown. If they do nothing else but prevent the touchdown, maybe what you're about to see here ends up happening. Here they throw hitches. Kid gets a nasty hit when we get to the end zone camera. So Taquan ends up kind of saving the day. He puts us in a spot. All right, teammate makes a play for him. We stop the hitches. And now they go throw the slants here. And Taquan comes back, makes the play. Great play on the ball. Works his horizontal stem. Knocks the ball out. And again, he has given the defense a chance to make a stand here. And not only did he do it, but he's helping make the stand. And that all leads to, now it's 4th and 7. We get a decent reroute on the seam here from our outside linebackers. And our safety, Zach, picks it off. Gets a big pick before the half. Keeps the touchdown off the board and has us in great shape. The number one skill that our defensive backs have to have is what we refer to as a vertical stem, which is the defensive back's ability to keep vertical leverage on top of the receiver. The classic don't get beat deep. The vertical stem drill that we use to teach it is emphasizing and helping those defensive backs to develop their ability to stay on top and in phase. For the drill, defensive backs align somewhere between 5 to 7 yards off the ball and 1 yard inside. The receiver is going to run vertical for 3 or 4 steps, change the speed, then run vertical for 3 or 4 steps again before changing speed yet again. Ultimately, we are teaching those defensive backs to play that second move, that first move a lot of times by the receivers to try to set up beating that receiver and eating up that vertical stem. After the second speed change, the defensive back's going to man turn, getting hip to hip to stack and run the route while on top of the receiver. So just real quick, that's kind of what the drill looks like. You're going to get, again, you're playing that second move. You're playing that second move. You're trying to stack and run the route with the receiver. Here it is in camp. For the drill right now, the ball's on the right side of the screen. You see the 2 speed changes. You're going to man turn, stack the hip. Here you go. You're in your back pedal. And again, when that vertical stem's ate up, you want to man turn, stack the hip. Here we go, coming from balls on the left now. That's how simple the drill is. Nothing earth-shattering here. Coach Stevens there working, explaining the drill to the guys. This is our install, day 1, back in 2020. So balls to the left. We're going to match the speed. Man turn, stack the hip. Change the speed. Man turn, stack the hip. Back pedal, change the speed. Change the speed. On the second one, turn and run. So here it is in a game. You're going to be looking at the bottom of the screen, our cornerback. This is perfect. That route's run by Levi. Levi's playing corner for us out there. Like, he is running the route of the receiver. Helps we got a little pressure. The ball's got to get out. But right there, great position to not just make a play on the ball, but almost have an interception. Now we're looking at the top of the screen again. Here's Taquan. Like, that's perfect. That's perfect. He's stacked on that front hip. There's no chance of the receiver making a play. Now, this is going to work together. Ultimately, we get good vertical stem out of number 5, Sincere. Ends up trail just a little bit, but he's stacked by the end. And then we get horizontal stem drill out of Zach there, coming over, making a pick in the playoff game. Both guys, top of the screen. We already got the man turn by the corner. The safety putting arms on, hands on. The corner right there, the guy's stacked up. That's why we get the sack. Top of the screen, real good job by Caleb here. Plays the man on top, able to play the ball through the man. And again, the whole point is let's play the man. If we play the man, we'll be in position to play the ball. Top of the screen, real good here by Sincere. He's all over it. So he's able to play, again, play the man, but play the ball. Good job by the slot defender here. Apologize about that. Man turns almost immediately. He's in position to play the ball because he's playing the man first. The next drill after vertical stem is horizontal stem. Whereas vertical stem was teaching how to play with vertical leverage, horizontal stem is going to teach to play with horizontal leverage either inside or outside of the receiver based on the coverage. The horizontal stem drill, the number one rule is nothing crosses your face. You're trying to keep that original inside, typically leverage on the receiver. The defensive back for the drill is going to line 5 to 7 yards off, 2 yards inside. The receiver is going to run vertical for 3 to 4 steps, break inside, then run vertical again for 3 or 4 steps before breaking inside again. After that second break, the defender is going to attack the near hip and chops the bottom arm while hitting with the outside shoulder, beginning a tackle while making a play on the ball. That's what the horizontal stem drill looks like. Again, we're teaching the guys to react to a double move. So that's why we have 2 breaks within the drill. And the key is we want to break on the ball, play through that near hip, and make a play on the ball coming off of the second break. Some film of this. Real good job by our cornerback, number 23, Caleb. He ends up getting a post corner. Let you see it one more time. Okay, he's going to squeeze. He's outside leverage right now. He's outside leverage in our 2 read coverage, and he's leveraging the ball to the safety. The second that guy ends up breaking back, all right, Caleb's like, well, he broke across my face, and now I'm playing inside leverage. I got to work my butt off to get back and make a play on the ball. Like, heck of a job. He plays through the near hip. Just a heck of a play. We got right there, a lot of times the horizontal stem drill, that's going to more so happen with our safeties than our corners. Real good break on the ball by Kenyon to come up and make the interception. Huge play. Huge play. Top of the bottom of the screen here, Zach. The receiver breaks out. He's hustling hard to go make a play on the hip. He does, makes the tackle. Almost forces the fumble. The ball comes out late, though. That's the right call. Top of the screen, our defensive back, Sincere. Great job, horizontal stem. That receiver, he's got his vertical stem. Receiver puts his foot in the ground. He's going to break on that near hip. Plays through the man, gets a piece of the ball. You're going to see a safety come on the screen here. Again, making a play on the ball. The receiver breaks inside. He needs to break on that near hip. Play the man through to the ball. Right now, you're going to see our safety come on the screen. So both the corner and safety know that they can cover deep here. If the corner plays that more aggressively, the safety is on top, inside. He's got a horizontal stem. Got a chance to play the ball there. Unfortunately, the corner misses the pick. Right here, horizontal stem, big hit by Zach. I'm going to argue his head and his helmet below the receiver's helmet. One of those things. He's keeping his horizontal stem though. That ball, he sees the man, he goes, plays the near hip. Our linebackers are going to be helpful on this. Right there, you see Zach driving down on the near hip. So the ball almost ends up picked. Bad throw by the quarterback, really. End zone camera. This is a great example. Right now, we're rolling our coverage to the trip side. Our safety's keying the number 3 receiver. They got a fake jailbreak and go. You see him takes time, glance back at the quarterback, plays the near hip, plays the ball. Legal hit. He's underneath. Coming down, playing the man. Okay? All right, the ball gets caught there. So what? Big deal. 12-yard gain. Let's play defense. Real good end zone shot. We're playing straight man-to-man on this. Aiming for the near hip. Ready to make a tackle. So we've talked about vertical stem drill. Let's not get beat deep. We talked about horizontal stem drill. Let's not get beat inside or outside. And ultimately, as a defensive back, at some point you are going to get beat. Just like I showed on the opening clips where Taquan got beat. He ended up in what we refer to as trail technique. What we coach guys to do when they are beat, when they are in trail technique, is recover at all costs. Do what you got to do to make sure you make the tackle, so that way the defense can play another down, and maybe 2-3 plays later we make a turnover happen. So recover at all costs. We also teach those defensive backs, if you're not going to be able to make a play on the ball, make a play on the man. We'll take the 15 yards. 15 yards is greater than 6 points. We'll live with that. Again, get the defense to play another down. The defensive back faces for the drill, the defensive back's going to face the opposite direction of the receiver. A line 2 yards inside and even with the receiver. The receiver is going to take off running while the defender man turns. The defender closes, tracks the near shoulder. You're going to play the man. That is the emphasis anytime I'm in trail technique, and pulls down the near hand arm when the hands go up. You're playing the man and his hands, not the ball, anytime you're in trail technique. That's what the drill looks like. Should be offset. It should be set so that way that offensive player is actually even with the defensive back. He's got his toes on the blue line. Offensive player has his toes on the blue line. And again, they're about a yard apart. I put them a little further apart when guys are cheating and grabbing and stuff, because again, the emphasis of the drill is turn, sprint. Do your best to get back on top if you can, and play the man the whole way. And then the last part, the key thing, you don't play the ball, you play the man. When the arms of the receiver go up, you're going to pull those arms down. You're playing the receiver's hands, not the ball. Some trail technique examples, bottom of the screen here. Mike gets beat, definitely. He does not look back for the ball. He plays the man. You can see right at the end of the play. Let you see that one more time. Right at the end of the play, receiver's hands are up. He's looking back for the ball. The receiver is looking back for the ball. Mike knows, put my hands up. Great trail technique out of Mike. Going to have it at the top of the screen. 100% playing the man and not the ball here. He sees the hands goes up. He just plays through the man because he knows he can't play the ball, and happens to play the ball because he played the man. Real good at the top of the screen. This is Caleb. Beat a little bit. He plays the hands as they come down. He knows he's beat right here. He's darn near on top. But he's beat because that kid is tall from Schoolcraft. Hands are up. He punches up through the hands. Ball's out. Take it back a little bit here. This is end of a half. Little trick play. DB really close to being on top. With where the ball got placed, he ends up in trail technique. Play through the man. End zone camera actually gives us a pretty good shot here, I'm pretty sure. We're rolling to our sky coverage. And as much as that's trail technique, that's also on top. Play the ball. Play the ball because you're playing the man. If you got great position on the man, the receiver's hands go up, play through the hands, you make a play on the ball. Gonna see right here, trail techniques actually by Levi. You see him. He peeked in the backfield. That's a no-no. All right, something crossed your face. So you both lost the horizontal stem and the vertical stem at the bottom of the screen. Turn and recover. He holds the shit out of him. But because he's hustling, both routes end up in the same area. Tevin tips the ball to him. We get an interception. Big play. End of game. 4th and 9. Lots of crazy stuff if you go back and watch this play closely. Quarterback almost falls down. We almost get a sack. Scramble drill happens. Ball's thrown really well. Our safety makes a play on the man. Right there. He is punching up through the arms, and the ball's out. Great play. Seals the victory for us. Right there. Noah definitely in trail technique. Just does everything he can. Plays the man. And a flag happens. Well, you got to teach defensive backs. Hey, you're hustling your butt off. I'd rather you not be in trail technique. Let's be on top. So that way we don't have to pass interfere. But make sure the defense plays another down. Again, we might get a situation like I showed at the beginning where we get to play that extra down. Real good here. See Taquan, he just plays through the man. He knows he's beat. He's not on that top hip. He's on the bottom of the hip. Play through the man. Make those refs have to throw their yellow flags. They don't want to throw a yellow flag every single time there's a pass play. It's here at the top. Does everything he can to try to recover. And that receiver, I believe he's a decathlete at the University of Michigan. Sincere on the bottom of the screen. And I'm arguing he gets back on top. The amount of pass interference, there's probably not a lot on it. I'm not going to argue he's all over him. Like, that's a fact. Right there, that's probably why he ends up. He's got that arm outside, and that's probably why the call ends up happening. Which, again, no big deal. You tell Sincere, great job. You kept the ball from being a touchdown. The last skill we need our defensive backs to be able to master is press technique, which is their ability to play tight man coverage and by alignment take away easy slant routes or hitch routes. The way we teach up press technique is we want to force the fade and play on top. And I think once a player gets good at the fundamental of vertical stem drill and being on top, horizontal stem drill, keeping their inside leverage anytime you're in press technique, and ultimately trail technique. Okay, I'm going to get beat because I'm playing tight, but I'm going to recover. I'm going to play the man, and by playing the man, I will be able to make a play on the ball and prevent the completion. To teach that, our defensive back's going to line on the inside shoulder, and they're ultimately initially shuffling to catch the release of the receiver. The key thing is they do not lunge. If you lunge forward, you will be in trail technique immediately, which defeats the purpose of pressing, which is take away the easy routes, force the fade, be on top. Against the inside release, so slant route, the key thing is you need to outside cross arm to get into your horizontal stem drill. You're ultimately opening your hips so you keep your inside leverage. Against the outside release, so a fade route, you're going to inside cross arm and ultimately get your hip stacked on the inside hip and on the top of the hip to be in the vertical stem drill. Ultimately, we progress that to a 5x5 box drill where that receiver is choosing to run a slant or a fade. So against the slant, again, inside leverage, need to cross arm with the outside hand so that way you end up bodying and getting your hips into the receiver's route and you flatten it, staying inside what you ultimately have already learned how to do in a horizontal stem drill. Against an outside release, you're going to cross arm with the inside arm and again get the hips and body to leverage that receiver's fade route, flatter and wider than what the receiver wants, while getting stacked on top of the near hip in the vertical stem drill that you've already mastered. So what we progress this to competition-wise, 5x5 box drill on the left here, the defense wins if they flatten that slant route and they have inside leverage as the receiver comes out of the box, or if they widen that fade route. If you widen them outside of the box, you've won. Like the quarterback's never going to have an angle to throw the ball if you flatten the route that badly. And then if you're on top as you come out of the box, it's a defensive win. Offense wins if they beat the defensive back to the inside of the box. If the defensive back's trailing, at best he's going to be able to make a tackle in a game, so that's why that's a win for an offense. And if you beat the defensive back out of the top of the box and you have him in trail technique. Trail technique's not the end of the world. You still got to make a play on the ball, but for the purpose of the drill, that would be considered an offensive win. We want to stay on top because then we get a shot at an interception as the defensive back. If I'm in trail technique, I'm playing the hands, I'm playing the man, and I do not get a chance to look and lean and make a play on the ball for an interception unless I'm on top. Some film of it here. The ball's on the bottom of the screen. So Noah's just barely inside leverage here. Great use of the arms. He doesn't really get a clear release here, and that's fine. That's a thing. He feels a little bit of an outside release, so he punches with the inside arm. That takes away any chance of a slant. Slows up the release. Right here, the problem is Noah's foot's dropped a little bit, so he ends up a little bit more in a trail technique than truly being on the top of the hip. Probably an offensive win. Spin move by Mason. Key thing here, though, off that spin move, Cody punches with the outside arm. Hips are starting to open up. Cody's, for all practical purposes, on top. Okay. Mason gets beat by Jamie on this rep. This is where the defender loses right there. That outside break, the inside arm needs to be punching the hip. So he opens up and turns and is able to run and be on top faster. Here, Jamie just gets beat by, not terrible. He's in trail technique, and the quarterback's going to have a chance to throw the ball here. But he does get the outside arm. It just he doesn't get enough of the outside arm on him, so he doesn't flatten the route and buy himself time to get on top. Sophomore Kyle is just going to get beat up by senior Noah. Key thing, though, all right, Kyle gives him that little move to the outside, so he starts the punch with the inside arm. The strike should be lower. Preferably we want that on the pec if it's here. Pec to the hip area. But because he gets that outside strike when the inside strike, when Kyle comes back, now it's two hands, shuffle, and he's going to make a play on the ball. That's not getting completed. Kyle just gets beat by Drew, our quarterback. Does a good job recovering in trail technique, but we don't want to be in trail. Drew there on Cody. Breaks inside, puts the outside arm on him, flattens the route. Probably a win for the defense. I'm going to argue that is a win for the offense. The route's ridiculously flat, but the whole goal in press is to make sure we don't give up that inside leverage. Probably not a realistic route, though, so I'd maybe call that a tie. There's way too much. Again, the route's probably flatter than what we want. That receiver's inside. Offensive win. Not terrible by Jamie. Just never gets hands on that hip. So his in trail technique, offensive win. So now some game film. Top of the screen. Great job of striking. Right there, you see the inside arm. Expands the route. Ball's got to be thrown perfectly. We almost find the interception with our safety helping. We're in recover 2-man under. Next play of the game. They go with the slant. This is another Caleb that we had playing for us. You see his. Now this ball maybe doesn't even get thrown. He puts his inside arm on first. The outside arm is on the back, but that's why there's a little window here that the quarterback thinks he can throw it to. Caleb does recover. Ball's overthrown a little bit. And now Chase is going to have, I'm going to watch the whole play because why not? Chase gets a long touchdown, I think 107 yards to end the half. Heck of a play by Chase Potter there, thanks to Caleb's press coverage. Bottom of the screen, let you see the hands here. So right now you can very clearly see. All right, both hands go towards the chest. The key part, as the receiver breaks out, you can see Caleb's inside arm working on the receiver. Ends up on top. Vertical stem drill, has a chance to intercept the ball, and most importantly, breaks up the pass. Pretty good by Noah on a slant. Now, not getting as handsy as we'd like. But right there, he reestablishes, all right, outside cross arm. I'm going to be able to body the man. And when the ball is thrown, he tries to make a play on the ball. As I mentioned, aligning properly ends up probably being every bit as important as the basic fundamentals of covering a route. So our corner alignments, we want those guys to be able to play press man. It just takes away your easy hitch, easy slant. Anytime that's something that a team wants to do, you need to be able to walk up and do that. So bottom of the screen here. Sincere's pressed, taking that away. Quarterback can't go with the fade ball, doesn't like it because he's on top. We force the underneath throw while we were bringing pressure with the front there. Again, more pressure from the front. Sincere's all over it. Makes the tackle for a 5-yard gain. Knocks the ball out. We almost get a big fumble recovery. Next thing the corners have to be able to do, play inside, an off man. All right, that lets them see things a little bit longer, which you're going to see on the next clip here. So bottom of the screen, it's going to come on eventually here. Jamie was in off coverage. And ends up, he's inside and on top of the route by number 13. Problem is 13's blocking its bubble. Jamie does a great job recovering. Needs to work harder to get outside. He maybe gets to be part of the tackle, but anything, dang, Kevin with the finish there. Anything extra after you cover the route by a defensive back. Yes, we gotta tackle the ball carrier at this point. But it's ultimately about working with your safety, who's man-to-man on that guy, making sure we force it back to him. Next thing our corners have to do, you got to be able to play 5x5 as a force defender. And we see the T, the straight T, the full T, see it at least twice a year. Really, the corner turned into just as much of a run defender as a pass defender. He's going to key through the tight end to the near back. We'll talk more about that when we talk about run support. He gets a pass route the entire time. Stays in coverage the entire time. Gives our outside linebacker a chance to find the quarterback and make the sack because of his coverage. And that's something the defensive line and outside linebackers, inside linebackers, those guys who get sacks, they don't understand how much it's because their corner is doing a great job playing 5x5, playing in a down position. He's going to drop, all right, 4th and 8. He's dropping to play underneath that corner route. And as the ball's thrown, you're going to see a great shot actually on the end zone copy. Him breaking on the ball as it's thrown. Like if that ball got completed, he'd be able to tackle the near hip, force it back to the inside linebacker. If he picks that, Caleb was a track guy, he'd be in the end zone. Great job by Levi just ending this guy. Okay, near back blocked, but tight end releases. Great outside leverage and tackle. And then I don't know why they even try this. Near back releases immediately, tackle the near hip. He's down. Next thing our corners have to be able to do is play 6x1. We do ask them to play outside at times. When we run our 2-read, their whole job is force number 1 back inside. They're keying 2-1. They're playing the first out and up. So bottom of the screen, you see Sincere break on the ball, and our cloud coverage almost gets a pick. Top of the screen, number 2 is playing out, and Levi gets a big hit. Proud of that kid from Martin for getting back up. We'll watch it just because the speed with which Levi triggers here is outstanding. Tackles made, no gain. Okay, see Taquan adjust. He's outside leverage. He's going to play the first out and up between these two guys. The out, that's not a real fake bubble. You see him react for a half second. He realizes that he's not throwing that, so he's able to help double team the remaining deep route with our safety. Alert by 2 here. Caleb puts his foot in the ground, comes back. Incredible play. Sealed the game, really. We'd like a wrap up, but the guy's down. It's not a first down. We can live. Levi's playing outside leverage. Keying inside in our cloud coverage. This is trips. He makes a break on the ball. Ball gets hung up a little bit high. He goes and grabs it. Takes it back for 6. Real good play by our outside linebacker. It's set up at the top of the screen. Pretty sure that's Taquan. Keying 2-1. Ball gets thrown to 1. Goes up. Finds the near hip. Can't tell if that's Caleb or Taquan for sure. They're both about the same size. Real good tackle. Real good tackle. Here we go. We got bubble to the bottom of the screen. This is just great defense by our guys. Bubble gets out there. You see Levi coming down. Makes the tackle. Offense works their butt off to get 2 yards. Start outside. Little shuffle back by Levi at the left of the screen. Comes down. Works through the outside. If he's not making that tackle, he's forced it back to safety and all the pursuit coming. Really good roll tackle, actually. Bottom of the screen here. Don't like how Caleb peeks inside there for a second. Just keep shuffling back a little bit. Wait for the ball to come. Wait for the ball to come. Does get back to the outside. Gets over. Forces a fumble, really. Almost makes a big time play. Last thing our corner needs to do every once in a while, we do play some cover 3. So based on the alignment of number 1, we don't overteach it by any means. If number 1's out wide, play 7x1 inside. You got to be able to break on the slant. You got to keep your horizontal stem. If number 1's extremely tight, we're going to line 7x3 outside and be able to make plays from there. So right now, Mike's off 7x1. We're actually in our green coverage. He chooses inside leverage because his receiver is so wide. He's keying 2. 2 gets not rerouted, but the outside linebacker is in the area code. Forces it deeper. Mike's able to go high point it, make an interception. So here we are rolling to cover 3. And you see Caleb come onto the screen, make the tackle. So now for safety alignments, number one way our safeties and all safeties have to line up is lining up deep. Typically, we are in some sort of 2 high shell. Every once in a while, we will roll down and we'll be in a 1 high shell, but so we don't line up extremely deep. We're expecting that safety to be able to play both pass and run from as short as 8 yards off the ball. Down in distance, that'll back up to 10 or 12, but we want to be able to line up 8 by 1 inside a tight end, playing the first up and in, typically from a cover 2 when there's no detached receivers on the left there. On the right, lining up deep, a little bit further inside, 8 by 2 inside of 2, keying 2 to 1 in our 2 read or palms type coverage. This ends up being really kind of a Zach Goodline highlight, really good safety for us. There, he's lined up deep. He's able to come across the opposite safety keys run too much because his tight end's blocking and never picks up the running back who's releasing through. Luckily, on the backside, you can see the tight end blocking. Zach gets over the top in position to undercut the ball, make an interception, turn around, go the other way. He makes I think he gets 3 interceptions by the end of this game. Once again, lined up deep. It's 4th and 4. Our inside linebacker, that's maybe a hold. It's all right. He's being physical, and the ball gets overthrown. Tight end does not get a clean release off the outside linebacker or from the inside linebacker, and he makes a big play on 4th down here. We're going to actually, you'll see our one safety rolling down on the motion. So right here, Kenyon is the deep safety. He's keying all the trips. He can kind of feel and see, all right, my guy's hooked up. I'm keying 2 to 1 here. 2 and 3 are both hooked up and blocking. So he's actually makes a great play here. Gets all the way out to 1. Matches him. And makes a great interception. Really out of trail technique for the most part there. Complete slop, end of the game. 3rd and 11, T-team needs to throw deep. Both safeties, they're backed up further than normal for the down and distance. And they're able to just sit on the ball, get the interception, and we partied up on the sidelines. Get our 4th win, stay alive for a playoff chance. Outstanding play coming here. So the corner, it's 3rd and 9. Corner sinks, forces the quarterback to have to put extra air on the ball. Good horizontal stem from a deep position out of Zach coming over. And we'll watch the end zone copy just because it's fun to see. It's fun to see guys go make plays. And he calls himself in, as he says, my foot's down. Good deal there. Now, just because we're lined up deep, and while this has mostly focused on pass coverage so far, that deep safety still needs to come up and be able to defend the run. Right here, unfortunately our cornerback, he is keying. He loses the key of his near back. His near back's headed outside. He should be looking to fit outside of number 12. So our deep safety is actually coming down right there, and that's very similar to playing a crack replace, which we'll talk about shortly. Comes down, and we spill all the ball all the way out to him, and really a decent roll tackle. I do not like where his helmet is because he's getting a thigh pad to the helmet, but Zach comes down, makes the play from a deep position, lined up about 8 yards off the ball. His tight end blocks. The back goes out wider, so he needs to continue to expand in case that back ends up in a route. The back hooks up, trying to block the cornerback, and here comes the safety. Gets a tackle on the legs, gives up a short gain. And now deep safety, able to play on the ball. 2's vertical. He's playing 2, up and in. Almost gets an interception. And one last deep safety alignment here. There's Cody making a play in the end zone. Keep them out. I think we get a better shot here on the end zone cam. Okay. Cody's inside. He's super on top. Can't find a way to make a pick, but we're okay. Next thing we asked our safeties to do, we're gonna play some man coverage. So we'll typically press with the corners. Safeties are somewhere around 7x2, 6x2 off the number 2 receivers there. So they're 100% man-to-man. Typically we're pairing this, as you can see, we're real aggressive with the front here. We're bringing 6 guys, adding 1 because the running back stays in. Corner gets good press, which forces this ball back a little bit faster. And our safety's coming downhill. We even get a hold out of the whole thing. Good play in the open field out of our off-man safety. Real good hustle by Kenyon. Couple plays later, same game. Safety pulls his trigger right now. Tackle in the alley for loss. Real good play by Mike here. Boom. Kind of same thing. Comes down, almost gets the pick. Almost gets the pick here. And all he's doing, he's ultimately working his horizontal stem. All right. Number 2 takes off outside. I got to take off outside. Peeks back at the ball because he knows he's got a little bit of leverage. And because he's aggressive, that lets our corner almost gets involved there. Here we are. Safety's all over him again. A little help from the corner. End zone shot. You'll see the pursuit. There we go. We're working horizontal stem. Mike's coming down again. Corner's able to help out. We'll ask our safeties to roll down. Typically, if we get 2 back sets, the boundary safety will walk up and play 4x4. Really the same as our corners would play when we're playing cover 2. And then sometimes against compressed trip sets, when you got 2 and 3, you got a tight end wing along with the wide receiver. We'll ask the safeties roll up and play force, so that way our outside linebackers can be spillers. So you're going to see top of the screen, we are skied right now to the tight end side of a 2-back formation. Deep safety's keying that halfback. Doesn't do a great job, but the down safety, which is what this clip's focused on, all right, down safety, pulls his trigger, forces a sack. Down safety again is on the bottom of the screen here, playing on the left side to the tight end side. We pinch inside. Quarterback pulls, and he's hitting the pitch back before, really, pretty much before the ball shows up. Ill-advised pitch by the quarterback. Running back ain't ready for it. Scoops it up. Top of the screen, right there, our downs. That's actually a down safety. We'll see if we can catch it on the end zone cam. Yep, we should. So right there, you see the safeties communicating. One's rolling deep, the other one's rolled down. So it's it's an on-balance formation, a tackle over. All right. So we decided we're going to sky to this. Safety carried about a 10-yard out from number 2. Made a break on the ball. Gets us to the 8 or 9 yard line. Okay. Here we so we'll check our man-to-man coverage. When we get tripped, sometimes we will trip it. We will check to sky, so that way we can still bring the outside linebacker to the trips. And pretty good play by Drew, forcing the ball back in. Unfortunately, our pursuit from the inside is showing up late. We're really not in a great alignment there, but he does his job of forcing the ball back in. We got to get some help out of the deep safety. We'll watch it from the end zone view. Right there, Cody's got to pull his trigger, get down in the alley, and help make the tackle here. So we give up too much yardage on that. So later on in the same ball game, Same deal. We want to be able to apply pressure, have a lot of run support. Great job now by the down safety, keeping himself alive. And really, we need to either check into and do something where we check that inside linebacker, get him a little wider, or the outside linebacker, one of those two guys. We got to get in the alley, as well as the deep safeties just can't hang back as far. Not if we want to be aggressive here. And then the last thing last alignment that our safeties will get into is being free. 8 by 0 deep. We'll do this for two reasons. Number one, it's a way to put that guy in position to help with a really good number one. If there's somebody on the weak side of a two-back formation, now he potentially can play that guy vertical. So he's keying 2-3-1. You know, he's gonna peek in the backfield first and be helpful there. And then secondarily, he can help with potential crossers. So right now, that is the boundary side safety. So he's free. He has no vertical threat. Sees a cut. He sees number one go. He's immediately breaking. He's keying in the backfield. That's at 100% a pass. All right. So my 2 and 3 are both blocking. I can go help out on number one. Gets over there, breaks up the pass, almost an interception in the scrimmage. Picking on my defensive end here. He wanted to be in a 2-point stance all year. We're free right now. It's really more of an end of a half type of situation, but here's an example of if you're free, you're able to help out. Just not a good pass in that situation at all out of the quarterback, but we're in position to pick it. When it comes to run support out of our defensive backs, the first concept we need them to understand that we need to coach them up with is the crack replace concept. It's crucial in providing a secondary force by a defensive back when a receiver crack blocks a primary force player. Communication of the crack block should happen immediately, helping that teammate put himself in a safer position and also keep him involved in the run fit. But the defensive back should be very patient in pulling his trigger, yet decisive once he does. A lot of coaches use the phrase "know before you go," and that's what crack replace ultimately is. A clear crack read comes after the DB sees the receiver's shoulders turn and shows the back numbers. And if he gets hands on the force player at all, pull your trigger and go. So here is an example, perimeter run. Both the safeties and corners should end up pulling their trigger. Ultimately, when we're in cloud, the corner's going to pull his trigger a little bit faster, and than either of the safeties. Okay, three cracks. The inside linebacker. Our deep safety needs to peek at 2. Make sure 2's not going vertical. 2 cracks. He can pull his trigger and run his alley. The corner, the second he sees any sort of crack block when we're in cloud, he gets to pull his trigger right away. When we're in our 2 read stuff, same thing. A lot of teams will go crack. Corner gets to go quite a bit faster and pull his trigger, especially as the ball gets wider to the perimeter, less chance of some sort of actual play action or a pass or something like that. If 2 gets hands on at all, he gets to go. So some crack replace examples. Perimeter run, our safety. Great job in the alley. Could tackle a little lower, get on the legs. Right there, 10's blocking. 10 is not running a route. Zane can pull his trigger, runs in the alley. 3-yard gain, can't ask for much more out of our safety. Okay, tighter alignment, cracks are going to happen more often. Our corner is in great position right now. I think this is his like second game at corner this particular year. If he kept working outside, we got a ton of pursuit coming from the inside. We're in a really good place. The safety, all right, both 2 and 1 have cracked. So the safety ends up replacing this and ends up in a position to come across, make the tackle. 5-yard gain, but that's better than a touchdown. And that's what defensive backs are on the field for, to prevent touchdowns. Corner at the bottom of the screen, this is going to be textbook crack replace. That guy's blocking. And if he ain't blocking, he's running a crossing route. I can keep sinking. I'm peeking for crossers coming back. Know before you go. He definitely does. Pulls his trigger. Is in position to make a tackle. Great job. Taekwon gets on the legs. Trips that guy up. Again, 5-yard gain. But now it's 4th and 2. The defensive back's job, keep the other team from getting first downs. Keep them from getting touchdowns. Crack replace at the top of the screen. Both 2 and 1 are inside. That right now the safety should be working a little bit faster in my opinion, but he knows before he goes. He is 100% making sure it's not play action pass, and now he's going to run hard. Gets on the tackle. Even if we didn't get the flag, about a 2-yard gain. Really great defensive execution all around. Crack by 1 and 2. Safety's unblocked. Go run the alley. Go make a play. Crack here by number 9. Safety pulls his trigger. Starts to come downhill. It's part of a great fit. 4th and 3. Stops him for shorter than a 3-yard gain. Huge play. As much as the linebacker is important on that, heck of a play. Corner here. Top of the screen. Immediately, 81 is taken off. That's a blocking demeanor. Drop. Confirm. He hooks up. Secondary force. Not make the tackle. Like he forces it back to his linebacker. We get a 3-yard loss. Get on his legs. Get on his legs. Next thing, making plays now from a deep alignment position. Asking our safeties to make plays when they're lined up eight or so yards deep. Walking through real quick what their keys are. They're going to key 2 to 1 and number 1. All right, 2 does come down, but he pivots back out. We're expecting the safety to pick that up. I need to confirm that his shoulders completely turn and he's 100% blocking that secondary level player, that MAC linebacker. Meanwhile, on the other side, once those shoulders turn completely, I can pull my trigger and I'm going to help play the spill. Or I'm in the alley between myself and the cornerback, depending on the exact alignment and coverage. Here we are. We get number 2 now. So now number 2, instead of releasing, he's blocking out. I'm going to be able to pull my trigger a little faster because hands are on. I'm a bonus player in between the outside linebacker and the rest of the box. Or number 2 completely slips it. I need to stay in coverage. And kind of our rule, again, know before you go. You are a coverage player until your key says, I'm blocking. I've got hands on. You can pull your trigger and go. Last thing, you get an outside release. A little bit muddier reads sometimes, and our corners are gonna be involved on this. This is corner reads that they'll get on potentially like the backside of trips if you got a nub tight end. I got to stay in coverage until that guy's hooked up on the outside linebacker. If he never hooks up on the outside linebacker, I got to stay in coverage. I got to be able to work my vertical and horizontal stems, turn and run with them, cover the pass. The outside linebacker will take any sort of pass out of the running back. Meanwhile, if that guy hooks up right away, it's just like the safety picture on the previous slide. I can pull my trigger and go fit inside the outside linebacker and outside the inside linebackers. So I think we got all right, tight end shift. So we're watching Kenyon, the deep safety here. Tight end's definitely blocking. Come up, get into run support. Pretty sure top of the screen's the safety to watch. Yep, he's keying that tight end. Tight end's definitely blocking. Near halfback is definitely inside. He's not outside. So if anything happens, the ball's in there. Great stick for a 2-yard gain. Safety run support because his keys told him to do that. Now a little bit of a cutback situation. That tight end, his shoulder, you can see his numbers, 24. He is definitely blocking. So now I'm looking for cutback support. And Mike does a great job of finding the ball carrier come out of the mess there. Watch the end zone shot. Okay. Tight end's definitely blocking. You see his shoulders are turned. So his job is safety, find the cutback. There's 15 coming through. The other safety had no idea. Number 2 had no idea where the ball is, and that's kind of the nature of the T. That's a whole another 7-part series if you've never checked that out. Okay, safety's keying that tight end for run pass. He's still blocking. Come up, make a stick. Okay, hands are on. He's double teaming that 5 technique. Blocking down. Outside linebacker spills. Play right outside the spill. Corner's got force out there. Really just great defense all around. Great perimeter defense out of both the safety and corner there. Let's get straight to the end zone shot on this one. Okay, they're down near the goal line. Play like linebackers down here. That safety, that's a clear block. Pull your trigger and go. Unfortunately, he's a little bit slow pulling his trigger, so that ends up being a touchdown. Great example, though, of how clear a run key potentially is. Now we get a little bit better play out of Mike this time. His eyes, though, are not on that tight end. If his eyes are on that tight end, go replace right here. Be outside of number 67 there. He's arc releasing. And go. And just doesn't quite make the play. And this is really good teaching tape. You know, that safety was a great ball player for us. Did a very good ball player for us. Did a lot of good things. He just didn't have his eyes locked in where they should be. Here you can see 12 steps out because his eyes are on that tight end. That puts him in better position to force the ball back to the inside linebackers. And even though he's the backup, he gets involved on the tackle here. And from the time he makes contact, there's no more yards to be found. The second that safety gets there, he maybe gets another half yard after contact, and then we got linebacker and other safety coming in and outside linebacker supporting. So it's coaching the safety's eyes is huge. And here's Mike making a play now. That tight end, this is much a crack replace as it is just lining up as a tight end, as a deep defender covering the tight end. Tight end's clearly blocking. Our outside linebacker, we're lined up in over front. Outside linebacker, C-gap responsible. Ball gets spilled by him. You get good attempt at force out of our down safety. Makes the ball bounce wider and deeper. Mike runs the alley, 1 yard gain. Real good play. So he's capable, and he gets his eyes in the right place. He makes good plays. We're going to crack block here. Number 2 knows that there's no play action threat left anymore. He can pull his trigger, gets in position for the cutback. Let you see that one more time. Real good play up front. They can't handle our front. That forces that cutback. And this play gets really dicey for a second, but our safety's able to clean it up again because as the number he's keying the number 2 receiver. He's blocking. Really, that's just as much a crack replace as it is playing deep. Out of him. Nice job. End zone shot. Outside linebackers should be making this play. Like, key what you're keying. Go fill down. Your tackle's blocking down. Get into cutback position. So that's big time bonus out of our safety. And again, we got to be able to cover the pass. Both safeties do a great job in their deep position. They still cover the pass. Watch the end zone shot. Okay. Both safeties, tight end still vertical. I got to stay in coverage. Work to inside leverage. Get your horizontal stem, Tevin. Safety corner undercuts him. He's playing underneath. Safety's on top. Well defended ball on the wheel route by the halfback there. And that's a great example of, all right, my tight end's blocking. So on the right side of the screen here, my tight end's blocking. Find extra work. Hey, there's a ball carrier, there's a potential receiver running down the middle of the field trying to run a post. I got to go cover it. That's your job as a too high safety, understanding teams are always trying to attack the post. So he's working his horizontal stem as much as he lined up and was ready to provide run support potentially against a team that wants to run the ball. Last thing, down position, 2 things. Need to be able to, on the left side of the screen here, need to come up, hit with my inside shoulder and force the ball back, make it bounce wider. We saw a little bit of that in a couple previous clips. And then the other thing, if I'm away, ball goes away, I'm gonna work the cutback. I'm slow flow shuffle and find a potential cutback. And then the other thing, again, working from the down position, can provide run support, outside leverage, and on any backfield threats. Got to be able to get down and force the ball back in, wherever that's coming from. So we're rolling down. Number 1 at the top of the screen is rolling down with the motion. He knows he needs to get outside of the slot. Number 88 there. 88 blocks the outside linebacker. Outside linebacker misses. Safety's going to be right there. 1 yard loss. Let you see the full play. Good fits inside. Safety's unblocked. Outside linebacker missed the 4 yard loss. Safety cleans it up. Now it's going to be the other safety. Number 2 is rolling down. You can see him on the screen already. Outside linebacker forces the ball back in this time. Safety's right there. 1 yard loss. Heck of a profile tackle. Running his feet. Great job by Kenyon and Mike on those 2 plays. So now this is going to be a defensive back. He's keying the near back. Near back goes away. We'd like his shoulders to be a little bit square, longer. But he knows he needs to hustle. There's a play, and he preserves a shutout. Playing at the end of a ball game. Keeps the opponent off the board. And forgive the number 2s for lining up a little bit funky, and that's why we didn't really put anyone in C gap, and that's where power goes. So great job by the backside corner, Taquan, shuffling across as a junior in that cutback support role. So now down alignment. This will be more from our corners, like on the previous clip there. Need to set the edge. Need to be able to turn and run with the wheel. Need to be able to play cutback. Okay, right there. The edge ends up really short. Our outside linebacker's too vertical. Really, our outside 33 right there. He's running past the ball carrier. He should be squeezing and turning his shoulders, and he should be making a tackle for about a 1 yard loss. Luckily, our corner's sitting there. He's being very patient. Shoulders stay square until he sees the ball carrier, and then a decent example of tackling the legs. And what that does, he kept a touchdown off the board. That's huge. I'm gonna argue if he don't make that play, he might that back's probably still running. Good example of forcing here on the jet sweep. That is great leverage out of our safety. Comes off 3 yard loss, even with the holding penalty. And run support from that free alignment. We talked a little bit about this already. Here's some examples of us doing it really, really well. So number 2 is free. He's keying, really, he's going to key through that tackle to the backfield. More and more, I coach those guys up. Just key the backfield when you're free like this. All right, backfield went away. Oh, I'm playing counter and cutback. Here the backfield comes back. We get a spill out of number 66. We got an overlap and scrape out of 82 and 5. And there's our safety to help out, make a tackle for 2 yard gain. Great form tackle again out of Kenya. Safety's free. There's only one wide receiver over here. Kick out block. And comes up, makes the play. And he gets to pull that trigger pretty quick because he's keying 2 to 3. Number 2 is kicking out. Number 3 has the ball. Shoot, dang, get there. Real good job. Great example of fixing your linebacker. I would prefer our linebacker to be inside that down block of the tackle, which would make the fit of the safety a little bit cleaner. He replaces that guy, comes back, and only a 3 yard gain. Great tackle out of our safety on that particular play. Okay, and again, the reason you're playing that free alignment, maybe we're spilling the ball to you. Maybe you end up on the backside. Maybe you're working on a crosser here. Okay, so 2 and 3 both go away. There's going to be a new guy coming, or you got a cutback situation. Okay, 3's away, 2's inside faking. There's a new number 2 coming. That safety was free. He's sitting on it. Comes up, 0-yard gain on kind of a crosser drive type play there, where you get both the shallow route and then the dig route. So again, 3 and 2 go away. New 2 coming. Come up and fit it. And no gain. And really decent horizontal stem out of our deep safety there. We're bringing the linebackers. Right now the quarterback could hit him there, and the quarterback, he's a freshman on this particular clip, ends up being a pretty good quarterback. He's just a little bit late. So what could have maybe been, I don't know, 3, 4, 5-yard gain, it ends up being 0. So here we got cutback support out of the free safety. Big hit. Again, 2 and 3 are both away. So he sees both of them head out. There's no crossing route coming. And now he's coming from not on screen. So he's the backside safety. He's lined up approximately, I believe he's like in the backside B gap here. We force the ball back. He's there for the cutback, 1-yard gain. All right, he's cheated over a little bit more. Actually, that makes a ton of sense. If 2 and 3 are over there, cheat your butt over, be inside leverage of the number 3. Outside linebacker forces it, doesn't force it as hard as I'd like. He's coming downhill. And as much as this particular team, our rival, we're playing them, we treated this formation and the previous formation the same. Last thing and hardest thing for defensive backs is providing run support after being in man coverage. A defense should be structured so a DB or anyone in man coverage should never be responsible primarily in the run fit. This ends up being a secondary thing. So we're going to give up some yardage on all the clips you're about to see. This one here, deep safety, 8x1 off that tight end. We were overplaying number 15 here because he's the best receiver on that team. So we got a true nickel package. We got 5 DBs on the field. He's covering number 15. So instead of having an overhang to the field side where they might run it, they've caught us in a little bit of an alignment that favors the offense. Safety knows he can pull the trigger because the tight end is definitely trying to block and hold a little bit our defensive end. Safety ends up getting downhill in the alley, knows he can pull his trigger. And if run through that near hip, just run through the near hip. Don't fall for the little stutter fake. He's potentially making the tackle for no gain, which is a heck of a play. And back behind him, you can see right there, that guy, he's 100%. Our corner's 100% in man coverage. He knows hands are all over me. It's not a pass play. It's a run play. Work back outside, come up, tackle the legs. I'd like him to keep his head up a little bit more, keep himself safe, but keeps them out of the end zone. 2 to 3 plays later, they end up fumbling a quarterback sneak, and we recover. So huge play. Corner at the bottom of the screen now. He's in man coverage. We spill the ball out to him. He knows that when that wide receiver's got hands all over him like that, that is 100% a block situation. Rip, get back to the outside. Keep yourself alive. Get on the legs. A little bit of a roll tackle out of Taquan there. Great secondary run support. Here, going to be just as much a crack replace as anything. So our safety's keying that wide receiver. He's in man coverage. Wide receiver's definitely trying to crack block. Misses the first linebacker. And the second linebacker's just a step slow. Just a step slow, but he runs the alley. 4-yard gain. After he pulls his trigger, forces the ball back. Now you got the corner on the bottom of the screen. A little bit of an extra wide split. works off the block, understands, hey, this is a block. We spill the ball out there. Actually, it's not that we spill the ball. Our number 28 is just way too vertical at defensive end. And he comes in, helps out from corner. Really as much, and again, another crack replace type situation. Ridiculous split now by number 1. Like either a slant or sluggo's coming, or it's weak side run. So cheat inside. Our outside linebacker, you see him step inside. We got a squeeze call on. It's power read. He's making sure the quarterback doesn't hit us vertical. Ball goes wider. Everyone gets the run to the ball. And the safety, the corner, he's essentially working a crack replace. That wide receiver is on your outside shoulder like that. Do everything you can to get outside and gets on the legs. We get tacklers to the perimeter. Only a 2-yard gain. And some people might, Coach, that's a lot of space. Well, darn right it is. So play the situation. Find a way to let that inside linebacker that's pursuing off the guard pole, find a way to get him involved so we can make the tackle. And a bunch of green jerseys get to the ball. We stay alive. Here's our 6x6 perimeter run support drill, which is our primary way of teaching those defensive backs how to provide their run support. On the play side here, cornerback keying that near back comes at him, come up, hit with your inside shoulder, be either bounce out to the perimeter, either for spilled power or quarterback keep. Deep safety's keying the tight end hooks up on the outside linebacker, you see his shoulders turn, you can pull your trigger, get down in the alley in between the corner forcing it and the outside linebacker essentially spilling it. And then backside, we're looking for cutback and counter support are free after he sees the tight end actually hook up. He can provide that support. He sees backfield away, go fit for the cutback, the potential trap or dive out of the fullback. And the cornerback, he can pull his trigger a little faster because he doesn't have a true vertical threat. His back goes away. Get your eyes to the next back for a potential cutback. If he's gone, you're finding the next thing coming back. If you get the outside linebackers involved in the drill, you can start to teach, especially the dog safety here. That outside linebacker, you get the tight end down blocking. I could start to work up to linebacker level. I indeed see him hook up. I see the outside linebacker get the ball spilled. I can make the play in the alley again between the force by the corner, who now is completely on block potentially, and the spill by the outside backer. And again, the backside, free, and corner are providing cutback or counter run support. And then lastly, teaching it from a 2-back set. What we do on 2-back set day, if we end up incorporating this, we'll just rotate all the guys through. So it doesn't really matter if a guy's a corner or a safety. They can work all the spots. If you want to get more specific in a given week, that's completely fine by me. That makes sense. But same thing right here. Our dog, he's keying near back comes at him, come up, force the ball, make it either bounce to the perimeter and you got outside leverage to go tackle it, or cut back to alley support out of the safety and inside out pursuit out of the inside linebackers, freeze keying that tight end. Tight end hooks up, you can go run the alley, and then the corner, it would be based on does the team run boots or not out of that quarterback. If that quarterback runs boots, that's what I'm looking for as cutback. He's the back that's left. If for some reason the quarterback would keep out play side, I can work cutback and provide cutback support on that ball carrier bouncing back. Game clips of stuff real quick, and this is we get 3 DBs on this weird play. All right, 3 DBs find it. And we got 3 shots at tackling. Luckily, one of them does. You see our outside linebacker comes down, spills it hard. Unfortunately, it's not a true spill. He's not inside. That's the tackle that gets over there. Our nose makes a mess of things. And our outside linebacker's not inside that block. He goes, I swear I was tackling the ball. No, you're tackling their biggest kid. and so that the play just kind of gets stopped. The running back's right there in the middle, spun around, and he's not tackled. All of a sudden, takes back off. Luckily, we have 3 guys hunting for a cutback. We get the backside corner here. We get the play side corner. We get the play side safety. They all find it, and they keep something that could have been a weird play that goes for a touchdown off the board. Backside safety here. His tight end's shoulders turn right there. he knows this is not a pass play. So he's looking for a cutback, and he finds it, hustles, does what he can. And earlier showed you that we had a wheel out of the backfield on a 4th down play. Well, that's set up because he kept the score off the board. And if you're walking away with nothing else out of this, then you got to train your defensive secondary up on how to keep first downs from happening and touchdowns from happening on single plays, so the defense can play another down. We'll watch the backside. Ultimately, our inside linebacker ends up going a little bit too wide. We do get the safety. He's got eyes on that cutback. Hustles. Saves the play. Again, we make a 4th down stop later on. And here, corner, he's going to get the spill read. Outside linebacker, he spilled the wings down block. Corner's on blocked. Come up. Makes a tackle for a 2-yard gain. Forces the ball back so that way his big teammates, Big Cole there, his teammates can come and make the tackle. The safeties, both safeties are showing up, and we make the tackle.
As always, guys, if you have questions or comments, please leave them down below. I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Check me out and follow me on Twitter at Coach Klee. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like what you see. And if you have anything that maybe requires a longer response, hit me up at coachbrienklee@gmail.com. Thanks as always for tuning in. See you again.